Hello and what's up? This is Zamazan, and today we're going to be doing a very quick, under 10-minute review of all of the lore of S.T.A.L.K.E.R. leading into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 so that you're ready to re-enter the zone. This will contain lead-up lore to the games themselves, as well as spoilers from the first 3 titles, so beware if you are wanting to play those prior to playing S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Up until the 1986 nuclear disaster at Chernobyl, the events in real life in the game mirror one another. In 1986, the disaster occurs at reactor number 4 just like in real life, and the exclusion zone is created. Soviet cleanup crews attempt to contain that disaster and leave abandoned towns behind, such as Pripyat. The incident causes widespread radioactive contamination, but there are no supernatural effects yet. In secret, a Soviet scientific team begins a project to manipulate the noosphere, which is a metaphysical layer of human consciousness, called the Sea Consciousness Project. The goal of this project is to eliminate all negative emotions on Earth like anger and greed, creating a utopian society. These experiments are conducted at hidden laboratories within the exclusion zone using advanced psychic and quantum technology. In 2006, a second explosion occurs at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant as a result of the Sea Consciousness Project going awry. This causes a psychic catastrophe, which creates the zone. This also creates the characteristics of the zone that we know, such as the anomalies, the mutants, and the artifacts. The anomalies are things that can distort physics, forming deadly phenomena, and the artifacts are valuable objects with unique properties that form within these anomalies. Local wildlife and fauna are also starting to become mutated at this point due to the radiation and psychic energy from the zone explosion. In the early years of the zone, people that became known as stalkers, which are adventurers, scavengers, and opportunists, begin to enter the zone, drawn by rumors of wealth and strange phenomena. There are governmental attempts at this point to contain the zone, but none of them are able to control the growth. A quick overview of the factions within S.T.A.L.K.E.R. You do have the military of Ukraine, you have bandits, you have Duty, who is a militarized faction aiming to destroy the zone to prevent its spread. You have Freedom, who are advocates for the free exploration of the zone, viewing it to be a marvel and not to be destroyed. You have Loners, who are independent stalkers seeking the artifacts and survival, but they don't have an overarching ideology. You have Mercenaries, who are professional soldiers offering services like retrieval, protection, and assassination. You have Ecologists, which are Ukrainian scientists that are researching the zone for scientific value. You have Monolith, who are the fanatical defenders of the zone's center, worshipping the Wish Granter, which is an almost mythical anomaly that is rumored to be at the center of the zone that can grant any wish to anybody. You have Clear Sky, which is a secretive faction researching the zone to understand and contain it. And you have the Renegades, who are lawless stalkers with no formal organization, often engaging in banditry. Starting off are the events that take place in the Clear Sky game, which takes place in 2011. During this game, the story follows S.T.A.L.K.E.R, who is a mercenary who miraculously survives a deadly emission, which is a psychic wave caused by the zone's growing instability. His unique resistance to these emissions makes him invaluable to the Clear Sky faction, who is trying to understand the zone and stabilize it. Clear Sky is led by Lebedev, who seeks to counteract the zone's instability, but is unable to do so due to the scale of the phenomena. S.T.A.L.K.E.R is tasked with investigating these stalkers who are attempting to reach the center of the zone, who are led by the legendary S.T.A.L.K.E.R, who is disrupting the zone while attempting to reach the center. The journey takes him across the key locations such as Garbage, Dark Alley, the Agroprom Underground, and Yantar, where he discovers the role of the Monolith faction and their use of the Brain Scorcher, which is a psychic device protecting the zone's center. This culminates into a final battle where S.T.A.L.K.E.R and Clear Sky pursue S.T.A.L.K.E.R into the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, battling Monolith forces along the way. S.T.A.L.K.E.R disables S.T.A.L.K.E.'s Psyblocker device that leaves him vulnerable to the zone's emissions. During these key moments, a massive, unprecedented emission occurs that destabilizes the zone further and wipes out most of Clear Sky's forces, and this sets the stage for the events of Shadow of Chernobyl. The second game in the series, Shadow of Chernobyl, picks up immediately following the events of Clear Sky. This game follows the Marked One, an amnesiac stalker whose sole clue to his identity is a cryptic message in his PDA that says, "Kill S.T.A.L.K.E.R." During the course of this game, the Marked One embarks on a journey to uncover the identity of S.T.A.L.K.E.R and the meaning behind the directive. Along the way, he rescues other stalkers, explores ruined facilities, and scavenges for supplies. He also encounters factions like the Militaristic Duty, who wanted to destroy the zone, the Anarchist Freedom, who advocate for its free exploration. The Marked One discovers that S.T.A.L.K.E.R is a legendary stalker rumored to have reached the center of the zone where the mythical Wish Granter resides. The Wish Granter can supposedly fulfill the desire of anybody who reaches it, though at a mysterious cost. The journey takes the Marked One into deep, abandoned Soviet-era laboratories that reveal the zone's true origins. In one of these laboratories, it is revealed that there's a powerful psi emitter that can zombify humans, and he disables that with the help of scientists in Yantar. Other discoveries point to the existence of that sea consciousness, the shadowy group that's responsible for the creation of the zone. However, S.T.A.L.K.E.R.'s past is still shrouded in mystery at this point. The Marked One learns that the Brain Scorcher is blocking the path to the zone's center, and ends up fighting through heavily guarded Red Forest and facing resistance from the fanatical Monolith faction. However, he does successfully shut down that Scorcher, clearing the way to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. As the Marked One nears the zone's center, he learns the truth, that the Sea Consciousness is a group of 7 scientists who have merged their minds to manipulate the new sphere in an effort to eliminate negative human traits like greed and violence. However, like we discussed earlier, those experiments failed catastrophically, creating the zone. The Marked One also discovers that the Wish Granter is a completely false construct that was designed to lure stalkers into the zone while serving as a front for the Sea Consciousness project. And it is finally revealed that S.T.A.L.K.E.R.'s identity is none other than the Marked One himself, and that he was brainwashed by the Sea Consciousness after he failed to expose their secrets. The directive to kill S.T.A.L.K.E.R was implanted to prevent him from remembering his past. There are multiple endings to this game, but ultimately the canon one is where the Marked One destroys the Sea Consciousness, ending their influence, though the consequences for the zone are ultimately unknown. The third game in the series, Call of Pripyat, is set shortly after Shadow of Chernobyl. It explores the aftermath of S.T.A.L.K.E.R.'s deactivation of the Brain Scorcher, which opened a path to the zone's center. The Ukrainian government launched Operation Fairway, which was a military mission to map anomalies and secure the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. However, this operation ends in disaster as all 5 of the helicopters crash due to anomalies shifting during emissions. This game follows Major Alexander Degtyaryov, who is an undercover SBU agent sent to investigate the operation's failure. Degtyaryov disguises himself as a stalker and explores new regions of the zone, including Zeton and Jupiter. He investigates the wreckage of the downed helicopters, uncovering that the shifting anomalies caused by the emissions led to the crash. Following clues from the crash site, he discovers that there is an evacuation point within the city of Pripyat, that it is only accessible, however, through the Pripyat 1 underpass. Degtyaryov forms a team from local allies, including Zulu, an ex-duty member, Vano, a loner, Strider, a Monolith deserter, and Lieutenant Sokolov, who is a Stingray pilot. And with the help of the technician Nitro, they repair equipment and navigate that dangerous tunnel to enter Pripyat. Upon reaching the city, Degtyaryov and his team are intercepted by the surviving military group led by Colonel Kovlovsky, who are locked in battle with the Monolith forces. Degtyaryov aids the military in neutralizing those Monolith positions and uncovers classified documents that reveal further experiments that were being conducted in the zone. Degtyaryov encounters S.T.A.L.K.E.R, who then explains that the emissions reshuffle the anomalies that renders the military anomaly maps completely obsolete. Working together, they survive the next emission and successfully map the current anomaly locations, enabling a rescue team to extract the survivors. A fierce battle at the evac point occurs, and eventually they are able to beat back the Monolith forces and mutants. The canon ending of the game has Degtyaryov declining a promotion and electing to become the head of security services in the zone instead. S.T.A.L.K.E.R provides his research to the government, leading to the creation of a scientific institute that is dedicated to the zone. And then Colonel Kovlovsky survives but faces a lot of scrutiny over the operation's failure before receiving an honorable discharge. And now, all these years later, the zone remains unstable, factions are still locked in conflict, and the zone's mysteries persist, as you, the next Stalker, prepares to enter the zone in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. To anyone that made it to the end, thank you for your time. If you have any suggestions or feedback for me, please let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.